launches and has a hit. Jack McGlynn! That is an absolute banger to draw this game level.
What is up? We are back. We are back for a weekend slate. We had a little bit of time. We got some news maybe like an hour ago. Messi and company not making the trip. So we got updated lineups. We got everything going on. So say what's up in the chat. If you're in here, bring your questions and we'll get into every lineup, every team. And then you know what? We'll run it back on Monday whenever we have our midweek. And then we'll have another weekend. It's getting to be hectic MLS time. It's no sleep for me, but at least we have something to look forward to midweek and on the weekends. Balot, what's happening? How are we doing? Thanks for coming back. So Rare Person, it's a heck of a name. Thanks for coming in. And if you have any questions, just hit me with them as you're coming in. I'll kind of free flow through this. I'll go through some teams if you want to see some teams. These are all available on the server inside Discord there, as well as on the server probabilities sheet that I'll have up. So I'm just going to kind of wait a little bit, get some links out and some Discords, things like that, so we can get some people in here. But as you are coming in, just fire away your questions, and I'll hit them in the order that you have them. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm a little late. I apologize. Kid just wouldn't go down. I gotta get everything up here. Let's see. Right. If you're ever on Twitter and you are hopping in here, just take a look at either Twitch or YouTube. That's where you can catch me, and then you can ask questions from there. John Andrews, what's happening? How are you? Good to see you. Good to hear from you, I should say. Ricardo, what's happening? Good to see you. I hope you're well. I am doing well as well. Can you just post the link? Trying here. Ready for another crazy weekend? Absolutely. Lewis, let's go. You made it. You're awake for now. Thanks for staying up. Sorry it's a little bit later than originally planned, but thanks for coming in. I think I have like 5 more days before I'm off for the summer. I'm a school teacher, if you guys didn't know. So I should be able to do like a 1 o'clock my time, which is like 6 o'clock in England. So get into a little bit better timing, which will be good for everyone. You feel if buying Andres Gomez for U23 this summer is worth it? His price is up for sure. So let's check him out. I do own him, so full transparency, I own him. I do like Andres Gomez a lot. He's been scoring a lot lately, which is great. You look at his scores, he doesn't have that crazy upside because the AA is really never there. But he's shown that he is really, really good. If you look last year, like think this time last year, he was basically fighting for playing time. He was like out of the team, came back, but he's been with the national side. He is Colombian. He had a couple first team caps and usually played like under 23, and he's only 21. So you look at last year's graph, all of this. Yeah, it was disappointing. I bought him before the season. Very happy. Let's check out the price graph. 3-month it, maybe 6-month it. I don't know. I bought him, or no, I did him in a trade, so I'm not gonna be here. But I guess these are kind of top. But it's not terrible on his run up, but as far as whenever people are aging out, like Jesus Ferreira is like the forward that you want, but he's kind of up there if you're playing under 23, which is tough. ATG, what's happening? If you didn't catch Ferreira in the States, they went through Euros, they went through a bunch of things. Great stuff, not just US content. It's great. School teacher, bet you're tired right now. I'm pretty tired. It's been a long week, but you're getting down to the end. I can get through it. I try to figure out a person I'm overthinking. Help me. Let's hear it. Let's talk through it. New stream time is not for everyone. Who thinks about Australia? Hey, I'll do late ones too for you. Good luck. Don't you worry about it. Diogo, what's happening? Thanks for coming back. Daniel Brubaker, what's happening? Let's go, Philly boys. When are you done with school year? My wife finished. My last day is May 31st, I believe. May 31st, next Friday. Is he struggling a bit? Yeah, he just got hurt in the U.S. Open Cup midweek, which is brutal. You hate to see that. I've heard knock. I've heard more than knock. I'm personally probably not going to play him. We'll see whenever I get to my lineups. I always say something, and then whenever I'm actually building, I don't think I'm going to play him personally. But yeah, that's a shame. He could be, the elite under 23 forward of the summer, but right now, not so much. All right, let's get, let's see, Major League Server. They gotta get link out there because the boys are always buzzing. And yeah. Let's see. Okay. Jesus Ferrer breaks my heart. Yeah, you got that right. That's for sure. Slightly scared with potential Montreal rotation this weekend. I'll be at my Waterman and Joignier are usually safe. Yeah. We could see a little bit of that surprise in the midweek. They lost to Forge FC, eliminated by them. That's embarrassing in the Canadian Championship. So, yeah, something's got to give. Usually, State Sapporo is a tough place to play, but not right now. Pika Mens, what's happening? Thanks for coming in. I'm pretty good. How are you? Diego Luna's finally cooking. Yeah. At the beginning of the year, he kind of looked unfit. Interesting. Duncan, what's up? All the Miami guys not traveling. Absolutely. I made sure that before coming on stream, I got that going. Let's see, Inter Miami, baby. Yes, Vancouver has it significantly easier. I did make the changes. It's in, I put a new PDF file in there. So same kind of link, but it's just updated. So yeah, that's huge news. Jordi Alba not being on that list is interesting. I know he's coming back from injury, maybe getting some fitness, but I bumped him down a little bit to 70% just because maybe they rest him too. But like, if you're going to travel to Vancouver, that's a hike. $140 seems criminal. Do I scoop him? Sorry. Alex, who we scooping? Because is it Jesus Ferrer or is it Andres Gomez? Is it Andres Gomez? Was he 140? He was 140 for new season. Is that who we're talking about, or are we talking about Jesus? Can we send you lineups and give you input? Yeah, absolutely. If you want to send me lineups, that's fine. Obviously, my expertise is in MLS, and I know a little bit about other leagues, but to be fully transparent, I don't know nearly as much as I should on the other league. Thanks for your work. Absolutely. 55K in Vancouver were expected. Yikes. I'm also searching for a great under 23 defender for the summer, but we're lacking options right now. Man, under 23 is brutal if we're thinking summer. So let's just go under 23. I'm just going to do MLS because obviously there's other, but let's just look at the MLS options and for defender. I guess I could have just did this, but why would I do that, right? So yeah, Bombito is number one right now. That's outrageous. Milanda's having a good season, but like these are not options that you're like, yeah, these are smashers. Tehran, Mikal, Harriel, like Caleb Wiley doesn't score well. Alde has been okay. George Campbell, Aviles hasn't scored that great. Ahmed scored pretty well. Tolkien got a new deal, but he has not been. I mean, Forsberg cuts into his usage like crazy. You look at this defender list; it is horrendous. Like, honestly, I don't know if MLS is really the way to go as far as defender in under 23. I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with a couple of guys for sure. Hold on a second. My cat's going nuts. Coming in. But yeah, under 23 defense is a little sketchy if you're looking to play it. So this time I had a pre-look at the predictions. I already have my questions ready. Hey, let's go. Yippee Kaye, Messi. Yeah, but I'm gonna do a flip side on this. I'm gonna say that it's a good thing he's not playing. I'd rather have a fresh Messi at home. You know he's gonna play at home, and in the midweek, he's gonna be at home, and he'll probably put up a 70 to 100 range. And I'd probably rather have that knowing he's gonna play in the midweek than possibly getting hurt on the turf. So I'm gonna do a little positive there. ATG so rare, Jesus. Yeah, so I mean, coming back, yeah, he's had decisives, but let's look at last year. I mean, he was really good, like just flat out. Dallas is a different team, but him and Peter Musa should be pretty good together. They've played on the same pitch barely at all, and Dallas looked like a completely different team. For that price, I paid way more than that. That's for sure. Whenever I bought him before the season, so yeah, that's pretty legit. ATG. You have the injury issues, but yeah, I think that's legit. Darooks, yeah, on Twitter's fine. Yeah, if you want to send me on Twitter, I can have a look. Yeah. Ryan Wilkinson, what's happening? At least we know about Messi being rested for midweek, is it? Yeah, I guess in theory he's being rested for midweek. It's more he doesn't want to do the 6-hour flight to Vancouver, tire yourself out, then not play at home. Like he's going to play in front of his home crowd. Honestly, like right now for Messi, I don't own a Messi, like I wish I did, but what I would do is anytime they're away, I would definitely think there's going to be doubts of him playing. It's just kind of where we're at right now. Home, yeah. He's legit for sure for Charlotte. Charlotte's just keeping clean sheets. But like, if you look at that list and you're like, yeah, he's good, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Last year, Tolkien was amazing. Last year, Diego Palacios was really good. Ariel was really good, but he had midfielder cards, so I guess that wouldn't count. But you don't really have these like absolute smashers. FBL, what's happening? Jalen Neal. I am a Jalen Neal owner. I do like Jalen Neal. He's come back from injury, so he just has to stay healthy. That's a great shout. Paintsel out this weekend for sure. Yeah, he's out for 3 weeks. If you guys don't have this sheet, I definitely suggest. I mean, I put it out there. I update everything where I get my information. I get them from beat writers. And then I literally just, as I see it, I put it in here. And then whenever I'm doing my lineup process, kind of go through. So he has a hamstring strain, out several weeks was the exact quote. And that was from 5/19. So that was 4 days ago. So that's what we're looking at. And Duncan, you beat me to it. Man, chat is great right now. Let's go. All day is a cheaper option, not a smasher though. Yeah. He can get forward a little bit. Not bad. Send it on Twitter. Okay. I will, once I catch up in the chat, I'll make sure. Actually, I got 2 screens going. I got actually more screens going, but got you. So I got to accept it. All right. So Drew, I got it pulled up. I just got to look in a sec. Do you like Teron? He's a 20 or 100 guy. Yeah, he's good. I owned him last year because I had Chris Brady, and I'm like, oh, a nice under 23 stack, but they conceded all the time. Do I risk and buy? He'd be my top guy if I do. There is some risk definitely with Jesus Ferreira. It's just he does have upside when he plays. It's just I don't know. It seems like he doesn't want to play, or I don't know. But it's I own him. I'm not selling him. I think as the season goes on, he's going to be worth it. If he'd be your top guy, he'd be solid for sure. ATG's the Sporting Kansas City. I talked to him a little bit. Alex there. Just wondering what's going on with Leibold. I thought he was doing pretty good, but now just a sub. That was rotation with a lot of fixtures back to back. And then he played the full 90 midweek in the U.S. Open Cup. And then weekend, I think it's a toss-up that he could start for sure. It's just kind of, are they going to try and keep rested legs? Because then they got another midweek and going forward, I think that's kind of where I'm at with that. 100% liable could play, could start. It's just kind of going back and forth there. Messi can be in first gear and he'll destroy Atlanta. Yeah. So what is your first place cash being spent on? Very big congrats. Hey, I appreciate that, Daniel. If you weren't with us last week this time, I built my lineups on here as well. And if you didn't know, I won. I won D1 Challenger Rare. Crazy. My Philly boys. And I have not touched it yet. This has to be a record. So I actually have not touched the balance yet. I guess I haven't even signed in. So I haven't touched the balance yet. I'm kind of brainstorming right now. So with ETH, kind of some huge things coming with ETH. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, whether I just hold on to the ETH a little bit, or I am kind of looking into maybe jumping into champion. But I'm not sure. So the ETH is still there. I got about a little bit over 0.4 for it. So that's awesome. Not quite sure what I'm going to do just yet. I have 2 Messis. Thinking about trading Satonio 1. Yeah, it's tough because he's going to smash whenever he plays. Like against Atlanta, you kind of want to have 2 of them though, like at the same time. So I don't know. That's really tough because he's one of the only guys that it wouldn't shock you every time that he would just have 100. Like he's just going after 100s left and right. Neil, what's happening? Picaments, what do you think about Minnesota performances? I have been shocked. Honestly, without Reynoso, I thought they would struggle. New coach coming in, they started without a coach. I thought they were in such disarray, but I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with Minnesota. As far as all the options they have and what they've played, crazy. Like Robin Lode has been unbelievable. He just whenever he gets on the ball, he's just a walking decisive. They did it without Bongi as well. Holangwane. He's starting to get back in the lineup, which I love to see. I don't have him, but I think he's very talented. So I'm very impressed. I was very wrong about them in my preseason stuff. I was very wrong about them. There's away games, and then there's 7-hour flight away games. That is 100%. Where do I get the sheet? Let me just share it in the chat. 1 second. I'm not signed in to the right profile. Give me a sec. Got so many Gmails that got the wrong one. All right, now we should be working. There we go. All right, I'll put her in the chat here. Should work. All right, so it should be in there just in case anyone wants that sheet. Honestly, I could do this a lot easier. Like there are other places where they have this, but me physically putting this in, I just kind of learn more about it. But wow, we got a lot of chat. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here. What about Bureau from Austin? I know it's only 20%, but yeah, he might play some minutes. Icy Ice, let's go. Saw you in the Server Data podcast chat there. Thanks for coming in. He is questionable. So the great thing about this sheet, and it kind of helps me with everything as things come in, he is questionable with a hamstring. He has missed the last 2 matches. So yeah, he could, if he's in the team, yeah, he could spell Zan Komanik a little bit, but again, he's questionable. So if you're thinking of playing him, I personally would not unless he's like a last resort. What to do you with Philly stack this game week? I haven't decided yet in FBL. I don't love the matchup in Charlotte. I don't. Charlotte is good at home. It took an 11-minute red card and a lot of things for Philly to go off. I still think they have some issues, some significant issues. So I'm not really high on them, but we'll see. In season, I don't have a ton of in-season cards, so that's kind of where those stacks usually go. And Zardes has a chance with him getting an assist and playing pretty well. Since we're already on here, if you take a look on this, he played 45 minutes. They split. It's been kind of an even split, and Rubio hasn't been great in the last several matches. Let me blow this up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. He hasn't been great. He's 1 card away from suspension. I think they're just waiting for him to get a yellow as well, and then Zardes will start. We could see Zardes in this match. We could see him in midweek. I think there is significant risk there. Also, will Brugman start? Yeah, I believe Brugman should start. Fresh legs. It's like, who else at that price point? Yeah. At that price point, you're not going to get the upside that you have in Ferreira. Here we go. Some Sporting Kansas City level is great. Vermes likes the song's work ethic, but I think he should start libeled. Should see some crazy rotations. I'd lead towards not. Cameron Harper, starter. Red Bull New York is on bye, correct? Just making sure. Almost positive on bye, right? But he's playing himself into a starting role. I mean, he just goes out there every match. So I mean, let's look at his heating up here. I think I have him in the right back spot, but yeah, 3 straight games with goals. He started back to back. Him starting has just been a little bit of, people moving around. Wiki Carmona was the guy that was starting there. With Forsberg out, he can slide to the left. But Harper right now, yeah, he's putting himself into a starting role for sure. Maybe my spacebar sucks. Never won a comp. Got 13 in Challenger last weekend with Philly boys. Got Teze. Huge in Challenger. Absolutely, Ryan. What's wrong with Reynoso? Why is he on AWOL? He's probably getting transferred. But now he has like pictures, videos with a ton of cash and a gun. So he goes to Argentina and he turns into a different guy. I think it was Michael Boxall said like he's great when he's here, but yeah, he won't play for Minnesota ever again, in my opinion. So Atlanta's center back pairing, what's going on there? A lot of things going on here. That's a good one. So let's go to Atlanta. So as you have you guys' questions, I'll go through like the lineups, but at any time you can check out these lineups. Like you don't have to wait for me to pull them up. They are, if you go on my Twitter, I posted the link to it. They're in that Discord. But this exact sheet is. So Atlanta, so Williams is coming back. He's doubtful for me. He could be kind of towards that questionable. Cobb picked up an ankle injury. It was rolled in the midweek as well. And Gregerson. So I if you look at this, so I have him 50%, but that 40%, I like to show that, okay, he could play the left side or he could play the right side. Morales is more just a right center back. Abrams more of just a left. So that's why I like the splits there. They don't really love Abram, to be honest. They're trying to get these guys in. They like Cobb. Morales is interesting because he's a homegrown kid. So I think they want to give him some action. He's played a little bit, but I think you can lock in Gregerson as one of the starters, and then it's either going to be Abram or Morales, most likely. But their top two are going to be Williams on the left and Gregerson on the right whenever all is healthy. Is it smart to buy a keeper to stack with a defender in MLS or less effective since there's less clean sheets? I would say it's less effective. You can definitely do it, but it's probably going to be a little bit less effective. But if you can find a team that can see, like right now, if you had Kalina and Malanda, you'd be doing great just because they're just holding clean sheets left and right. But yeah, it's tough. And which goal gears would you recommend for the summer period? It's all matchup based. If you read my column on RotoWire, I bounce around to a lot of different keepers. Like I like Alex Bono this week, but like Tyler Miller was the starter last year for Rooney, and he's back healthy. So like if Bono doesn't have great, performances, he could be dropped in theory, and you can have a bunch of these kind of issues going on. So as far as goalkeepers, you kind of want to just check the schedule ahead of time and then go for like a stretch of maybe he has like 5 good games in a row. But I love home keepers and I love away keepers that are shot stoppers that might concede too. That your Brad Stuvers, but Brad Stuvers' price is way too high now. But that's kind of thing. Does the sheet reflect the projected lineups on RotoWire? The sheet is just a tracking. I use this as just like a tracking. I don't always like update the order. Like the order doesn't usually matter that much, but it's kind of what I use to build or predict all my lineups. I believe we'll get Beavers this time next week. I agree with you there. And now we have Mikovic, who might be the next Beavers. So you might have a little bit of Mikovic sighting with McCarthy for the Galaxy. Yeah, fewer elite defenders. Whenever I'm doing my column on RotoWire, it's Kai Wagner, it's Brooks Lennon, at times Aaron Herrera, but there just aren't those options because people don't spend up on defense. Nashville did with Walker Zimmerman. He's a DP defender. You just don't see it very often. Cucho out for sure. Who would you play? Yeah, Cucho's out. Let's see. Cucho has been rolled out. See, I don't know if it's a back or it's a rest. They're really kind of playing it close to the chest here. I think they just want everyone to be healthy by June 1st. I love Christian Ramirez at the moment. You could go Tani from Minnesota as well. I think it was just cramping for Pookie, but I think we should see a Tani start just because they kind of are rotating at the moment. I prefer Christian Ramirez because he's a little bit safer, although it's not a great matchup just on the road without some guys. And what if they don't play Aiden Morris? He's been training, but he only played 45 minutes as a precaution. As Detroit Bad Boy said, confirmed out. What about Polskamp? Any chance of him starting? I don't think so, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Melia. Any news on Osorio? Nothing new that I saw. So I didn't see anything like that he was training or anything. He wasn't in the midweek lineup, so I kind of just went with it. I said the same exact thing. You said it better. Orlando's tough. My cat's just being a psychopath. All right, let's see. Catching up here, kind of. But keep them coming. I'll just keep rolling. If it's 5 minutes till I get to yours, I apologize, but I'm trying to get them all. You guys have maybe a tip where info's for Pohang Steelers? That's just not my expertise. I'm sorry. I don't have anything on that. Splitting up the full Philly stack, Daniel is, but playing Freeze and Martins or Burke Risa feels like a better play. Yeah, that makes sense. Philly, it feels like they're going to concede. Maybe 2, maybe 3. We'll see where we're at. But at the same time, Charlotte doesn't score a ton. So it's probably going to be like a 2-1 maybe. So that wouldn't kill you. Do you think highly on will he be a starter? Yeah, at right back right now, he doesn't have much opposition. Like Gressel's playing in that central role. So you don't really have to worry about, at least at the moment. But whenever that midfield gets a little bit more crowded, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But he was brought in to be a starter. He's played pretty much every match that I can remember. He was a sub. Let's see. He was a sub once and started every other match. So he's been pretty reliable. Schulte Moreira, nice. Do you think Sirois at risk long term? Montreal concedes a lot. Yeah, they've been conceding a lot. They have. They're not in great form whatsoever. But like, I don't know. I guess Breza could get a start. And you can see what he's about with him coming back to Montreal. But Sirois was lights out last year. He was really good. I think their issues, they have so many injuries around them. I know it's a lot to the attack, but they're out a lot of starters. Like they're out a lot of guys that, are starters for them. Again, it's just the attack mainly, but like if you don't have those attackers, it makes it really tough. Can Caleb Wiley become good at any point? He's a good in real life player, but Sorare wise, he's pretty bad just because the possession stuff. No, it made the midweek that was on about Pulse Camp. Think Rapeau turns it around with Portland or with a couple bucks to upgrade. Thinking Stefan maybe. Portland just they've been so leaky at the back. They've just been conceding left and right, which is odd. But I like Colorado, though. I mean, I like everything I've seen. I wrote up, Connor Ronan coming back. Sorry, I'm allergic to cats, and getting into my eye, and you hate to see it. Messi and Kucha both sucking Orlando. Blot, hey, are we back to the? Why did it go back to the beginning? All right, I don't even know what's going on here. Can we see Houston? Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm back to where we are in the chat. I'm going to go through a couple more. Then I'm going to go to my Twitter DMs, and we're going to take a quick look at Daruk, his lineups. Houston is at the bottom. I don't know why I'm scrolling up. Yeah, there we go. So Houston, here's my thinking on Houston. I think it's going to be terrible based on Clark's not training and how his face looks. I think we have Steres. Escobar has been training. Today was his first day back training. I think we could see him off the bench. I'd really be shocked if he started, but maybe midweek he'll start. Other than that, the big out is Kowalczyk due to yellow card accumulation. He's out, so that should be Ibrahim Aliou, or maybe they got to go. Or, Sebas Ferreira has been injured forever. I don't think he'll be back this one, but there's that slight chance. Bassi can play on that left side. He's better as a cam, but that would bring Blessing into the starting lineup for me. But, yeah. What do you think about Carranza's big chance missed when Uro missed the pass to him? I don't know. Honestly, I was on cloud 9 the entire time, just counting those points. But honestly, I didn't look into it. Yeah, my wife had, whenever she was my girlfriend, we moved in together. She had a cat already, so you know what we have to do, right? Is it true McGlynn, Tolkien, Morris, and the other under 20 out for months because of the Olympics? Yeah, these guys will be going to the Olympics, so they'll be eligible for the Olympics, and it is covered, so. It could be interesting. But yeah, they'll be away from their clubs, which is going to open up so many opportunities. Best keeper in your opinion on somewhat of a budget? I'm looking to sell Guzan and Emilia. Yeah, I'd probably get out of those. Just they're pretty short term. Best keeper that's like a budget keeper. You can get a bunch. I don't know if you're playing limited, but like you can get a bunch around like that $16 to $18 range that I like. Like Alex Bono, and just kind of like play the matchups. And then maybe if you can sell after that matchup, with the midweeks, it's going to make it a little bit funky, but I don't hate that idea. What about Lowe? Is he still out? He's back training. So Lowe is training today. Was that today or yesterday? I'm running. My days run together. That was today. He was full training, and that's the first time he's been full training. So he could be back, but I don't think he'll start right out of the bat. Steve Clark when healthy, yeah. Ricardo, if you have unlimited money, what would be your ideal 5 starters for under 23 in MLS? Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. That is a tough one. Hide that. Let's take a look at my gallery just because I have some good pieces that I like as far as MLS, and it just kind of sparks what I have. But under 23, apply goalkeepers. So I like Schulte as the under 23 kind of guy. Brady, it's just, I mean, these prices are brutal what I paid for him, but Brady, he just can't get a clean sheet. He struggles for sure. But yeah, Schulte would be the number 1. I would go with him. At defense, it's tough, but Harriel's probably going to be my top choice. Maybe Malanda, you can put him into the mix as well. There's a few other defenders that are legit. Jalen Neal as well. Midfield, Jack McGlynn, whenever he's with Philly, he's got to be at the top of my list. Kermashi's worth a look. Ages out. If we're talking like, are you saying like after the age out, like Ricky Puig ages out? So I'm not counting the guys that age out in this. So I wouldn't pick him. Jesus Ferreira is probably my top guy. Because Carranza is going to age out. Corin Vargas is legit, but he doesn't have that AA game. Andres Gomez has showed really well. Ajimang, but these aren't top guys. Alan Velasco, when he comes back, will be very interesting. Yeah, Jesus Ferreira is probably the guy for me. The extra, I'd probably go double midfield for that. All right, so let's take a look. Hey, look who we are. I guess I'm just we're everywhere here. All right. Sorry for this. All right, let's take a look real quick at Daruk. Celentano, yeah. Sorry, I was going through people that I have. Should have brought Celentano. Celentano is very, very good. Cincinnati keeps more clean sheets, in my opinion. They got some good shouts here. Celentano, Tolkien needs to get back to what he is. Puig, Bassett's been good. Carranza, yeah. For sure, there's all good ones. All right, so let's take a look at this. So this is, hopefully he's still in here. Let's see these teams. So don't do that. What are we doing here? All right, we've got a Philly stack. It won't let me zoom in. So Anthony Morris, UNSG, Harriel, Quinn Sullivan, Bongi, and is that Padelford? Yeah, legit team. Yeah, not bad. We got another one. So you got your Gazdag, McGlynn, Kai, and then Guzan with them against LAFC. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. Not terrible. I think it has potential, but it's just tough matchup, and I'm just not a big Brad Guzan guy. And then you got a Minnesota stack in season 5. Rosales has been good. DJ Taylor has been good. Honestly, this is probably one of your better lineups. I know they're away against Colorado, but that's a legit team as well. So that's legit for sure. What do you think about Peter Musa looking for a decent rare forward? Yeah, he has scored, He's solid. He's definitely solid. I think with Ferreira on the field, it will get him more spots. Like Ferreira is a great number 10 that sits kind of underneath Musa and can kind of get some balls into him. And I think they can play off each other, but we just haven't seen enough minutes between the two to see that chemistry going yet. But I think he's decent. It's just the scores haven't been there. Blake is out. Blake signed his contract. They said that we are still getting to the bottom of what is going on in his knee. He did not train. He's not considered out, but for me, I think I went 90%, 10% that he's pretty much out. Do you think Rosales is undervalued at the moment? Yeah, Rosales has been good. Let's take a look at his graph. He's been really solid. Wow, his in-season's almost 20. You look at his past games. Yeah, he has decisives and all, but like 33 AA and a decisive. Like he's kind of crushing it. He's been good. Take his love Musa. Take a Zyrtec and stop rubbing your eyes. Sorry, can't help it. Felipe Mora, I wrote about in my column. I like his chances to score. Who decided for is if I buy him, I have to buy his fill-in. Who would slot in there? It could be a lot of different people. Like whenever everyone's healthy, Kamungo could be in there. Ansa's played there, but he hasn't played there recently, so I wouldn't really worry about him. Like Paul Arriola, you have Sebastian Leggett, who have played like all possibly around those roles. But, there's not like a one guy that kind of, fits in that role. Like if you look last match, he started obviously, but, Kamunga can play on the left side. Ansa played 3 times on that left side. And then you have Paul Arriola that played, and Delgado played once. So it's not like one guy. Yes, sir. What was he subbed? It was he was training, but I think it was hamstring tightness. It was some sort of tightness. I believe it was hamstring. Duncan, what do you think of Sang Bin? I have a stack of Load and Rosales as listed forward. I like Sang Bin. I think like if you watch him play, he's electric. Like his acceleration is top tier in the MLS. I really like him. Scores wise, like he was on all sets to start the season. And I kind of like got into watching Minnesota because I'm like, wow, this team actually looks good. But the scores haven't been there to back it up, which is kind of a shame because he's just not really contributing, and he's playing, in advanced roles. But he did score, so maybe that goal gets him going. The scores haven't been there, but I do like his upside long term. What about Colorado's midfield? What's the situation there? It's all on Connor Ronan. If Connor Ronan starts, that kind of shifts everyone. So it basically comes down to him first. So if we go here, if Connor Ronan starts, and I honestly think that's a coin flip. He's been off the bench several times. He's full in training. Like people are talking really highly of him. He's a great player. Bassett would move from that spot because they seem to love Larraz on the other like kind of defensive side. Bassett would move to left mid. So Bassett's 90%. That's kind of how I show it. Bassett would move over there. And the odd man out would be Amir Fernandez, or, depending on Cabral, if, a lot of these guys can play the right side or the left side, or Calvin Harris. They've just kind of been a revolving door, really. But that's kind of what's going on there. Yeah, I mean, if you can afford a Velasco, because whenever he comes back, I'm really excited to see him play as well. Should be towards the end of the season. I do follow him on Instagram and like to see that he's riding the bike, doing some small things. Which 3 players are most likely to move to Europe this summer? Tom Bogert, I think at the Athletics, like 99 cents or $1.99. I can't remember a month, but he puts up some great articles that like highlights the connections that he's seen. And he's touched on some players like Jack McGlynn could make the move, but I feel like he'll be on the same path as like, depending on how he does at the Olympics. If he balls out the Olympics, maybe he will leave in summer. But, like the Aaronsons, they left in the winter. So like they had a deal made in the summer and then they left, it's kind of like a loan back, or the deal doesn't start until January. So I think we could see maybe something like that. Would you risk Morris? Depends the lineup. Like I don't think he's a great player. It doesn't really, he's kind of matchup proof, but playing against in Orlando is tricky. I know they haven't been the best home team, but you don't want him to blow up your top lineup. So it might not be the worst thing to maybe put him in like a secondary lineup. That's kind of what I would do. I don't like to, have any risk in that top lineup, even though random DMPs happen, but that's just kind of personal, how I like it. Hey, Ricardo, I appreciate it. Good luck this game week. All right. I'm up to date on the chat. Let's go. Oh, man. Alex said, I was just checking, sending me baseball. I do play fancy baseball. I don't play so rare. You got Fry, Taylor, Load, Brugman, and Jovelich. It's legit. It's legit. All right. David, hello, everybody. Hello. All right. I've kind of gone through pieces of each team. So if you want to see teams, you can always see these. But I'm going to keep hitting questions as they come in. When there are lulls, I'll talk about just kind of certain points that I think need to be made. Just kind of maybe where I'm indecisive, things like that. So let's go to Portland because there is some things going on here. So Diogo, you look at this left mid spot, and there is a lot going on. So let me explain kind of what's going on here. So Asprilla has started the last two matches. Santi Moreno is questionable. At first, he was a major doubt. Phil Neville is very tongue-in-cheek of how he kind of releases information, so we don't really know. Now he should be in the squad, was the exact quote, with hamstring tightness. So I don't think he'll start. I'm kind of just trying to read into this, but I don't see him starting. So if he doesn't start, I think they'll go to the 3-5-2 again. It just kind of makes sense because Mosquera, his natural position is to get up the field more and not play in that like right back, but play in like a right wing back, right mid. And then the left side, either Asprilla. I think he does a lot of what they want to do. Anthony is kind of a toss up. You could have Miller if you want to get more defensive, but they are at home. Or you could have Moreno playing that. But I think a lot of these are based on, okay, are they playing three in the back? Are they playing this kind of role and this formation? Or are they getting back to like the 4-2-3-1? So if they get back to the 4-2-3-1, changes a lot of things, obviously. One of the center backs would be out. The way they love Zuparik, I think it would Araujo. He would probably be out. McGraw's the odd man out. He's kind of not even in contention right now. Then like one of these guys, obviously, these two would slide. Evander would be the cam. Rodriguez would slide to the left side as he's been playing, or the right side, either or, and then more up top with this guys. Evander's pretty set as long as nothing happens, on Friday, because he's known for his Friday injuries. Chara, 40% here, 30% here. Ayala played really well, and Neville talked about him, how much he like really raved for him. He's finally healthy, and he's a guy that is a possible breakout and one to watch for sure. He has a really high ceiling. Ricardo Forsberg was ill, and that's why he was on the bench. He was battling illness. It was questionable whether he would be in the squad. So that's kind of where that came from. I think it was like a Friday illness, so it was pretty fresh. Good questions. Sporting Kansas City, we briefly talked about the situation of left back. Right now I have Basong, but I could flip that. That's a tough one. Especially with some of these teams having midweeks. Painsel's out here, so We talked about Houston. McCarthy, Mikovic. I have McCarthy starting. I think it was a spot start for Mikovic. Could he start? Sure, right? Basically, if you're looking at these lineups, if a goalie's 90%, they're pretty spot on for me. If they're anything less, do your own research into the situation. We might not have any information, but that's kind of where I would go with that. Same thing with on the Houston side. Right now, I have to think that's going to be terrible. But like tomorrow, after we could fully get just like a random, hey, Steve Clark's training today. He will be good. He's going to be wearing, a Jason Voorhees mask and playing. So it's difficult in that way. Keep going through. Austin, we kind of talked about them. A big question here is the center back role. So Vicen came on at halftime because Conte was on a yellow. So it could have been a little bit of that. But I do think we're going to see center backs kind of flip-flop. Heinz Ike, they really like him. Like they've been raving. Coach Wolf has been raving about him. So that's kind of why I have him in, then maybe some rotation here. Cascante will be away with, is it Venezuela? He's in the preliminary squad for the Copa America. Or is it Peru? I can't remember. Checks notes. Venezuela, I'm pretty sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. So maybe they do a little tinkering. And Vicen was a starter before. Heinz Ike was like the third center back / fourth center back, and they've kind of rotated a little bit. With Rigoni gone, it should be Wolf. But coach said that Fodry and Furkranis, I believe, was the super draft pick, could see some minutes. I take that as from the bench. And Finley is questionable. Yeah, the coach said it was on the calendar. So, yeah, shenanigans are shenanigans. Yeah, that's for sure. I like these lineup sheets you post. Didn't even realize about Sans. Absolutely, yeah. The notes help me because here's my kind of content schedule. So now what I do tomorrow morning is, if you've ever been on whoscored.com, I do the MLS previews and the injury section. I basically just use my injury section so I can not forget things, and it kind of just helps out. Yeah, so James Sands is on yellow card accumulation. There's some people on Twitter that tweet out everyone who's missing, which is big. Because sometimes I do miss someone. What I try to do is keep up with the availability report. So let's see, is anyone? Yeah. So I have in my sheet when they're one caution away. So then whenever I'm putting in, let's say Rubio gets a yellow card here, I'd look, okay, one caution away, he's suspended. And if you go 5 matches without a yellow card, you get 1 taken off. So you have to account for that as well. So fun. Considering Houston doesn't score that much, what do you think of this team? McCarthy, Julian Delgado, Jovic, and Neal. Ade is captain. Yeah, that's legit. It's legit for sure. All right. San Jose. They played midweek, but they rotated pretty much everyone. Right? Were they one of the teams that played? I'm pretty sure. See, everything's running together. Yeah, they did. So if you're in the sheet and you look, started. That's the U.S. Open Cup. That's the abbreviation. I just abbreviated, but that just kind of gives you a little bit. Some of the other sheets I've put minutes, but these were pretty straightforward just because they basically started their second team. So that kind of helps us a decent amount. The only question mark would be a Bobase, but Judd started midweek, so Bobase should be good there. So that is kind of nice to get that. Sometimes midweeks are nice whenever they do that. Sometimes it's not great. Vancouver, I had some questions on the midfield here. Why people are only this many percent. If you take a look, Schoff is 75%. So it's 35, that's 40, that's 75% total. I know it's weird and wonky this way, but it kind of just is based on what's going on here. So in theory, you could have Kubas starting. He is questionable with a knock. He was full training today. So I bumped him from 50-50 to 60-40. Then Vite, will he start or will Schoff start here? Then on this side, we have Ahmed, which he can play either side, or Schoff start, Raposo on the other side. The wing backs just seem to rotate like crazy. Then your center backs, Brown has started multiple times. It's been really confusing on what's going on there. So I don't have a really good grasp on Vancouver, to be fully honest. And kind of with the information that I've gotten, it's tough to decide who's going to start where. So with Messi not coming to town, that could be a little bit interesting. How long is Blake out for? We don't know. They're still assessing what's wrong with his knee, and he wasn't training today. So that's never great, but he signed a new deal. So I guess that's great. I think he'll be just, magically back for Copa America. I don't know. Don Q, what's happening? Don't know if you already covered this, but do you feel like Amundsen lost his spot? That is a big question mark. So I'm glad you brought it up. It's weird, right? It's weird because he's been really good from everything that I've seen, but he has been on the bench for 3 out of 4. So a lot of that, I mean, if you keep going back, he didn't play any of the Champions Cup. So like if they're saving him for that, that doesn't make sense because he hasn't been part of the team. He's played 1 match, I believe, in the Champions Cup this year. So that doesn't really make sense. What's really kind of taken my eye is Cheburko seems to be taking over as that starting role, which Amundsen has been a key player in their team, at least last year. And it's not like the performances have been horrible. He came off the bench, had an assist last match. You have Camacho there as well. He's kind of like, the older statesman that is a leader in the locker room. But it does seem that Cheburko has taken over the starting role at that left center back position, which is crazy because like Amundsen can play that left wing back ish kind of role. He did that in New York City at times, like just kind of how he came in and really asserted himself on the team last year. It's been kind of crazy, but Nancy knows what he's doing, so I'm not sure there. Brose, what's happening? Nice for you to come in. I appreciate it. There's a lot of people in here. Love it. Love to see it. And then Inter Miami, it made it a lot easier removing some of them. I did have Campana starting beforehand, so that kind of made it easier whenever Suarez obviously not in. Kermashi should start. David Ruiz should start. That pretty straightforward unless we see like some of these youth guys. Like we saw Leo Afonso before, but Robert Taylor should start. Sunderland, don't really see him playing. Any of these guys I don't really see playing. It should be Jordi Alba, but Negri could start there. I mean, if they were kind of rotating everyone else, but they would have said he wouldn't fly either. I don't know. I was kind of confused that he wasn't involved in there. Odd man out. Sergey should start, but maybe it's a Noah Allen rare starting. Ian Frey, I just want to talk about him. I did buy his card, full transparency, recently. So he's a talented kid. He can do a lot of things. He can play in the midfield as well, but their midfield stacked. He won't be needed. With the injury to Freire, he's out for the year, ACL. That opens up a spot. Sergey is a little bit older, and I think, and this is kind of like, this might not be right. This is just kind of my thinking. I think we could see an Avilés Frey back 2. Or they could play a back 3, but they're going to play the 4-3-3. I think long term that could be the issue. Frey's coming back from an ACL though. They're going to ease him in, but that's kind of like, that's why I bought him. I bought him as soon as I saw him in full training, and I saw a training video, and he looks pretty good. FBL, why can't Abobase score? He's been struggling. Yeah. They're scoring all around him, but it's not him getting the goals. He struggled, but he seems to at least, be holding off Judd for the starting position. So hopefully bag some goals here shortly. Rapids talked about Minnesota. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Talked about Tawny a little bit. I do think they flip-flop, and we don't see Pukki as a starter. Other than that, Tapias is out with a red card. So that's why Padelford is coming back to the center back role. He was out last match. That's kind of my thinking for this back 3. Arriaga, 70% because he was out, but he is training. So, sorry, he wasn't out. He was questionable and played 34 minutes off the bench last match, but he should be good to go. Can't remember what it was. I should have left it on there, but he should be good to go. That's why I went 70% just in case, but him playing 34 off the bench is great. That's kind of all you need to see. Real Salt Lake, I don't really see anything too crazy. Like it was brought up, I think we're going to see a Beaver sighting in the midweek again. McMath didn't look great on the weekend, to be honest. Let's see. Other than that, my kind of like gut feeling, I watched the match. I don't know if anyone else watched the match. That was an unbelievable match against Colorado. They fought back. When Anderson Julio came on, I know he's like a super sub that gets like the energy up. Boy, he looked good. Like he brought a different element to the team that they were scary, really scary. So that's kind of why I have him in here. Crooks hasn't been very good, to be honest. Again, like that's just for me watching. I don't know what the coach will do, but that's kind of why I went this way. I think Julio earned himself a start. I really do. Palacio played really well off the bench. That's why I bumped them down to both 80. They should start, but Palacio was really good off the bench as well. So those are kind of like my notes. I want to know about Morris, Kamungo, Longone, Rosales, and HH. So Morris, he was taken off at halftime, precautionary. Let's get it right. Precautionary. So this is just kind of, I went 60% because wasn't positive that they won't like rest him a little bit. Just the Cucho situation scares me off a little bit. So that's kind of why I bumped him down a little bit. It's kind of your risk preference. Do I think he's going to start? Yeah, I do think he'll start. But if there's any kind of question, he was full training today, which is good. But who's the next one? Kamungo, we have him up here. I got 60% here, but 80% total on the left side as well. Because Ferreira, just not positive he's going to start. So 50% just because it's either a knock or it's something bigger. So that is very, very tricky there. Whenever I get to my lineup building, we'll see what I do. But at the moment, I think I'm going to leave him out. I don't know. Rosales, good to go. Should be solid. And Hector Herrera should be good to go as well. Too many A players for your FC Dallas stack. Interesting. So since Daniel Brubaker's here, his Dallas team, just kind of go through them. Just kind of, Legette's coming back. So I have him at 60%, and I do have him as a starter at right center back. Tsiki could be the other guy starting there. I don't think Ariel is going to be back, but I put him as 10%. They're just kind of all coming back, and they're not quite there. The back three should be the same. Emma Tomasi, probably botched either way. You'll have to. He wasn't very good. He hasn't been very good at all. Endley came on for him, but like when Ariola gets back, I think he might take that spot when everyone's healthy. Patterson Delgado has been pretty good. Like I've been pleasantly surprised. He's solid. I didn't know anything about him coming into the season. I've only seen him a little bit, but that's kind of where I'm at there. Wouldn't this be crazy? Yeah, Beavers and Polscan midweek. That'd be wild. That would be wild. St. Louis, they had a big signing today. So it looks like Sam Adeniran's time is probably done. If I had to guess, no more Dante Sealy. Yeah, he has a lot of upside talent, but he was just bad. It was just bad. And like they didn't know when to pull the plug. It just, hey, let's keep throwing him out there at that left wing back spot. Maybe he'll get better, but he didn't. Markanovic was out, so he's back. Yara is questionable, but he's been full training. Everybody's healthy, which is good to see. I could have went higher with Loven. I'm just kind of a toss up there. I do think Ostrak maybe one more start, and then midweek we get Loven back. Pompeo on the left side, 70% just because there could be a rotation there, but I think he should start. We should be back to the team. So if you remember last weekend, St. Louis kind of rotated almost everyone. We talked about in the stream that like Yeah, they haven't rotated in a long time. This could be it. They did. They did pretty heavily. I've been scouring for a forward, and I keep falling back on my man Jesus. Hey, you can never go wrong with Jesus, right? Who do I buy for 150 or less? Like I don't think we'd even be having a conversation if there wasn't a possibility he has a knock, right? Like it's tough. It makes it tough for Jesus Ferreira. We'll take a little look. You're looking at forward. Let's see who we got here, just price wise. We can look together. Just because sometimes whenever I don't like research people, I don't even know what people are going for sometimes. I guess we'll search by L15. I was going to say 150 or less. So let's just keep going. Jonathan Rodriguez, no thank you. Santi Moreno, he's been hit or miss. He's been good in good matchups, but not ever Jesus. Pay a little bit more for Insigne coming back from injury. Navarro, I think that's his, like, he's been really good. Don't get me wrong, but he's due to not score goals. So I think that price could come down a little bit. Andres Gomez, very goal dependent. I prefer Jesus Ferreira. Mora, no. Jovic, no. I mean, looking at all these guys, like Carranza, that's one to watch just because there's a chance he could get re-signed. There's a chance. We'll see. Philadelphia did say that they're going to try and match any offer that comes in. So maybe there's a contract upgrade there. But like, I don't think it's anyone out of Jesus Ferreira, but there is a little bit of inherent risk there. Just like this list, there's no one that it's like, no, you should definitely go for them. Like GG's made of glass and might be going to Cruz Azul. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for sure. Inject them into your veins. Let's go. Can't wait. I don't know a lot about the player, but just kind of based on talking to some people. Just Heat, what do you think? Is this kind of like a Giacchini, like that type of player to play off of Klaus instead of like having two guys, you know, him and Adeniran, I feel like don't play off each other all that well. Who are the best MLS players or potential transfers in all positions to fill gaps when with Europe over? Best value players. Honestly, right now, like everyone's a value. Like there's so many. Right now, you just have to be careful buying because there's so many different things people can miss for, like international duty, international friendlies, Copa America. You know, that's crazy. There's so many different competitions that the Euros, like you could have players going for, like Gozdog's going to be gone, McGlynn's going to be gone, like all of Philadelphia is going to be gone. It's going to be absolutely brutal. Klaus has decent A for a forward, doesn't score enough, and obviously some new competition just arrived. I think they're going to go to two forwards. I really do. You're not gonna bench Klaus. He's a DP. I know other teams have DPs that are at the bench, but I do think they'll both start. In my opinion, I'm not a St. Louis expert. That's just kind of my like gut. If I got Carranza, which mid do I pair him with? Right now, I prefer McGlynn, but Gozdog's good as well. I think McGlynn has the under 23 tax and has a little bit of, you know, he could leave, which is you know, tough. Just top few, seeing landmine everywhere, transfer out of MLS international duty. All right, yeah, let's go through just a couple mids, maybe. Playing off each other would be much more similar to his. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But again, I basically looked at like Y Scout and just kind of looked at his like heat maps, things like that. Haven't watched a minute of him playing, in all honesty, but that's kind of will only make Klaus better. Yeah, makes sense. But let's go back to this one. So Lucho Acosta. Can I interest you in Lucho Acosta? Yeah, Vander, Aiden Morse will be gone for the Olympics. Ricky Puig should be around, right? I don't see him going to anything. Tillman is actually on the friendlies for the U.S., so he's gone. McGlynn's gone. Robin Lode, will he be on international duty? I'm not sure if he's going to be in the squad or not. Is he Finland? Rosales, I mean, could be. I'm trying to think where my other international. So the international sheet that I posted, I've kind of gone through that a little bit. But I posted that the other day. We have gotten some squads. So just kind of looking through what that was. Yeah. Bupenza and Velasco are probably the best value player for us right now, to be honest. I think Velasco, yes. Bupenza, I wouldn't touch. I think he's on his way out. There were rumors that before that jaw injury, they were trying to get rid of him. And now, since he has that jaw injury, no one wants him. I would definitely pump the brakes on Bupenza just because of, again, rumors. So I could be wrong, but I think Cincinnati are done with his antics. Are done with him personally. Vander's pretty cheap compared to other top playmakers. Yeah. I think Vander's legit. That's one guy that like I was gonna buy in the offseason and never did. Yeah. And getting into it with a boxer is probably not the best call. Like you should be able to probably see. Bupenza is terrible. Yeah. Yeah, I like the Evander. Don Q said about Evander. I like that. Like that shot a lot. For sure. Seattle. Bar fight versus pro boxer doesn't demonstrate great IQ. Yeah. Yamar's back. The suspension that you need to look at is Nuhu Tolo. He got a red card. Cody Baker should be the starter. Baker Whiting should get a little bit of time off the bench. He has a lot of upside. Clubs in Europe are looking at him. I don't know what the fanfare is all about yet. He looks okay, but it's not like a, man, this guy needs to be playing in Europe. Benteke too high. Yeah, just right now, I feel like he's too expensive. He's been unbelievable. Like I love him this week. Like this game week, he's going to be great. Should be. But he is a little bit on that high end. They don't really want, like if I was buying, I don't know if I'd want to stretch to him. I don't know. I think you can make the argument, but who's better, Evander, Driussi, or Mukhtar? I would take Evander just because of his upside. I think Driussi is very goal dependent and decisive dependent, as is Mukhtar. They're not really putting up the AA, where Evander is going to put up the AA and has that craziness. 5 goals and 20 goals. I really hope so, because the article, I was really all for him. So the other 2 times I wrote for him, I think it was both hat tricks. So just breathe it into him. Seattle played U.S. Open Cup. The only news from the U.S. Open Cup, De La Vega won't start. He's on a minute restriction. And the injury that we saw was Bell. He was in pain, had to be subbed. So he doesn't really factor in, but yeah. All of Seattle's dust is the White Gold connection. Charlotte Austin underrates high upside options. I think Ryan Gauld with like Miami guys out could have a really, really good, really good weekend. So like he's interesting for sure. Brian White just scores goals usually. Charlotte and Austin underrates high upside options. Yeah. There's some like, if you go to my RotoWire piece, I always start the game week looking at who the biggest favorites are. And I looked at that list and I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Tillman or Load? That's a good one. Right now, both are playing amazing. Load, who's got the better matchup? At Colorado, 25.92%. At Atlanta, who's been struggling. I'm probably going to – that's tough. I'm going to lean Tillman. Could be wrong, though. Load just is unbelievable right now. So, yeah, you got Benteke, and I chose Malachi Jones. Malachi Jones. He's been delightful, actually. I was like the first couple appearances, I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, he's all right, but why is he playing over Talis Magno? I just want to see Talis Magno on the field. That's all I want. Yeah, the Minnesota stack. Daruk, I believe. Yeah, he has that role in something very similar to. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it's something Minnesota-y like that. It's a nice one. I think he's playing in D5 too. Like that could, in theory, I know it's an away matchup, but that could run pretty well in D5. Insigne seems like a good price. Injury prone. Yeah, he's come back from injury, but boy, he's played well at times. Like last year, you just throw it out the window. It was a terrible season for all of Toronto. But look at what Bernardeschi's doing. If they can both get going, man. Any top matches next midweek? So like all the rivalries were kind of like last week. So there's no like super big rivalries, but we could see some rotation if like a team is like looking ahead to some. But there's none that like really are just like, oh, they have to. Almada in training. Apparently, I may gamble on him. Yeah, he trained today. Trained today fully. Tillman, I have a sneaky feeling he may rest this weekend, play midweek, and then another game. Yeah, Tillman hasn't rested yet. John Andrews, who do you think would take over? Do you think Bogusz would slide to the midfield? Because if we take a look here, LAFC's, I mean, Duenas could play, sure. But like Bogusz started as well, which is interesting. Bouanga started, but he's not going to rotate. He just is a freak and just always played. The one that I'm a little, Eli Sanchez was subbed off. So like if he can't play, then Atuesta would have to slide into his spot. Right now I just don't see them playing Duenas. He hasn't started a single match. Will he get a start at some point? Probably, but that's kind of just for lack of options. Because if Illy's hurt, they're gonna have to play these three, and I just don't see Duenas not playing. Then you run into Kakamara has a head issue. Is Ordaz going to play? Is Tomas Angel? They don't seem to trust him. Luis Mueller, they do trust, but it's like, could we see Bouanga striker and Mueller on the outside, or vice versa? But yeah, I'm right with you on that. It does seem like he's due for a rest. Like, look at these LAFC charts here in the middle here with Atuesta. Atuesta was suspended one and rotated one, but literally just every match they've played, every single match, which doesn't happen. Like, unless you're Dave Romney from last year. Can Zardes take over the starting spot? I don't think long term. Rubio is the starter. I don't think Zardes he could play here and there. I know he had an assist last match, but Zardes is kind of dust. I guess you could say that about Rubio maybe as well, but yeah. But again, the quote on him was he was down, but it could have just been precautionary. So like he could play. I think it was just like might have been something small, but I don't know. That's just my thinking. Again, I could be completely wrong. When in doubt, go with your gut. Like 100%. Don't listen to what I'm saying because, I'm trying to do this for 29 teams. If you are focused on your players, you 100% probably know more about your players than I know about your players. So you know how you focus on certain players. That's kind of what I've said and will continue to say. The center back pairing. So kind of tying into that, it was Chanot started in the midweek. So I do think it was Chanot and it was Segura. So I do think it's going to be Long and Barillo. Could be wrong on that, but I do think Hollingshead, we haven't heard anything on how bad the neck injury is. So that's pretty tough there. And then kind of talk about the rest of it. Off topic, love it. Let's hear it. What do you think about the U.S. men's national team upcoming Copa? Personally, I was really surprised Sean John is coming along. I guess I'll need an extra goalie. Yeah, it's usually calendar, but Sean John has been in the squad as like the third goalkeeper. So I don't know. Do you really need 3 goalies? I know it's just kind of like, it's for your country, but do you really need 3 goalies? I don't know. I mean, Matt Turner's going to be the only one playing. So Tillman or Luna, Blake, Kalina or Stuver. Blake's going to be out. Like, he has maybe a 10% chance. Kalina's been unbelievable. And Stuver, I would lean Kalina just because, the clean sheets are there. But Stuver, the AA is there, although it wasn't last match. But not the worst matchup in the world. It's just kind of, you get scared of the attack a little bit. Tillman or Luna is a good one. I don't know. I kind of like Luna long term, but if we go to RSL at Dallas, I know Dallas has been a little bit leaky and RSL are world beaters right now. More is, okay. Value rest of the season. I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, Blake's price, I haven't looked at it. I almost don't want to look at it just based on, I have 2 of them. Tillman started off, you remember last year, he started off really hot and then he completely cooled down and like he wasn't even starting at times. I know the midfield looks different, but I would probably lean Luna. Blake, once he gets back, he's going to be a better scorer than both of them, in my opinion. If he's the Andre Blake of like last year and not like what we've seen so far. So that's kind of where I pump the brakes. I'm a Blake believer, but Kalina and Stuver have been good. I love Brad Stuver. That's one guy. Wish I would have pulled the trigger on. Just didn't. So maybe Stuver 1, Blake 2, Kalina 3. But I think you're splitting hairs there. Making sure I'm not fumbling anyone. Click is the best mid under $100. I should pull the trigger. Yeah. I mean, his like decisives, I feel like haven't come yet, but like his AA is there and he's on all sets, literally all sets. So a stray corner here and there he's not on. So he's pretty much on all sets. Apologize, jumping the gun. You're not jumping the gun at all. Want to know what you know about Miles Robinson this weekend. Let's go to Atlanta. Now, any questions you got? Let's hear. Let's go to Atlanta. What am I doing? It's getting late here. It's been a long week of teaching. I'm getting real sick of the kids. Let's go to Cincinnati. He is available. He's on Cincy. Yeah, man, my brain just like doing these lineups and everything. Man, I'm just get mentally drained by the end of the day. But let's go to Atlanta. We haven't talked about Atlanta at all, so perfect. And Benteke will score headers. It's inevitable. Klitsch is so good. Yes. Read my RotoWire article. Get those views up. I love that combo this weekend. So great buy for this weekend. Let's go to Cincy, which we're supposed to do, not Atlanta. Don't lose your mind. So I have him at 70%. I think he should start. He's been full training. As far as everyone else, Yedlin was full training. So Kubo is out. Halsey could start at right wing back. Probably going to be Yedlin. There's some interesting. Valenzuela, I know I have him as backup at 3 different positions, but if you add them all up, it's 60%. So it's him and Santos is kind of like a toss-up. We should see Kevin Kelsey again. And yeah, I think that's everything else pretty straightforward. What's your opinion about the LA goalie? We talked about it. It was kind of brought up that was a scheduled. So it seems like whenever they're going to have, multiple matches, Mikovic is going to have his options. He's the goalie for the future for sure. I think we might see like a Beaver situation, like him and McMath. But like McMath is the starter. So same thing with McCarthy. But long term, like Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's, whatever. Yeah, that's kind of. I do think McCarthy starts this weekend. If he doesn't, he is coming off a clean sheet, so there could be interesting. Getting a Malachi Jones, all right. Just like the Wings in New York City, you just don't know who's going to start, which is really brutal. I don't know how you balance this. It's tough. It's tough. I am off for the summer. Next Friday is my last day, so I do get a little bit of time where I'm not working my full day and then coming. So if sometimes I seem a little bit irritable whenever like people are asking me like questions that you just have to look at the lineup or like, hey, where's this guy whenever he's like suspended? And I wrote on there that he's suspended, like Bernadeschi. Where's he at? Oh, if you just like look down here, he's out. Yeah, it's tough sometimes, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. This is a good question, Donkey. When the first Lucho rotation is going to come? He's been an absolute workhorse. Yes, he has been. It's just the only thing with him, like as an owner, that kind of gives me a little bit. He'll probably come on for 45 minutes and you'll probably get a decisive, and it won't even matter that he came off the bench. He's just been that good. That's one card. Again, I mean, if you had him, you're probably looking at some decent rewards for sure. I mean, he's just been a 100 machine. Yeah, talk about Toronto a little bit. A couple guys are coming back. Marshall Ruddy coming back. Richie Larea could make the bench. More likely from next match, though. So I don't expect to see him, but could. He's getting close. My MVP. Yeah, MVP. Center back, Long's questionable again. Should be questionable again with that hamstring, so you don't know if he's going to come back. I would think of Mabika. Petretta could slide in here, and Mabika would be out. So like Gomes would slide to the central. Petretta would be on this left side. That's kind of how I did that. My wife is a teacher. I totally get it. Tough job and totally underappreciate. Hey, I appreciate that. What grade is /subject does your wife teach? I teach 7th grade math. So the 7th graders, by this time in the year, I'm pretty sick of them, to be frank. They get on your nerves pretty good. Orlando and Columbus. Duncan McGuire left the last match after like 16 minutes, I believe. He was kind of questionable, or is questionable coming in. I taught 1 year of 7th grade math and it ended my teaching career. I commend you, man. I'm sorry to hear that. There's a summer break for a reason. If it was full year round, there's no way I could do it. It's definitely mentally taxing at times, but sometimes it's fun. Sometimes. Formation wise for Orlando, that's kind of where I'm at. It's a major question mark. What type of formation they're going to run? Are they going to stick with the 3-1-4-2 type of thing? It's all going to be, are they playing 2 strikers or are they not? So if they don't, I think, so like I put Ojeda at 60%, Ladera at 50%. I think there's a chance we could see both of them if they go with 1 striker. So you'd have both of those guys playing. Maybe we see 4 in the back. They switch back to the 4-2-3-1. Maybe that makes a lot of sense. Cartagena playing as like that center back is odd, but he can do it. But if you play him and Araujo, and then left back, Rafael Santos is back and healthy, but it seems like they don't want to start him. So that's kind of why I wanted this formation. And then your right back, Thor Halson, has played centrally in the midfield as well. So he could slide to like a right back, play in that natural position. And then like the Aiden Morris question we got to, and then the other pieces, I think we see Ramirez up top. We should. There's a lot of question marks here. Hinestroza left the last match, but he should be fine. He has been training. Cucho's out. And then we talked about Amundsen. If he doesn't get a start here, he's for sure out, which is tough. Oh, early childhood special education. She loves it, but I don't know how she does it. Only thing tougher would be middle school. Yeah, that's tough. One of my good friends does middle school special education, and like I don't know how he does it, man. It's a 24/7 job type thing. You know what I mean? Like you get zero breaks in that. And like early childhood would be so tough. My wife works at daycare and like I just go in to drop off my son and like I'm like, man, I have a headache. It's too much stimulation for me. Like at least like the middle schoolers just like, you know, talk under their breath about you and how much they hate you and stuff. Let's see. We haven't touched on New England. They keep playing Mark Anthony K, which is fine, but like Noel Buck is just rotting on the bench. I don't know why he can't get any game time. He's like wanted by teams in England. You know, he has that England nationality. They're just kind of wasting him away. I would like to see him. What is there to lose? Why not play him a little bit? He played right mid a couple times last year, so don't be surprised. Maybe he gets like an appearance. Barrero, I've at 40%. He could start over Barterovich. I think they're going to temper him as far as his minutes just to make sure he's good. So he did start the last match. I think he'll probably start maybe the midweek. We'll see how that goes. Same here. I'm in and out as fast as possible. Yeah. Oh, man. Kessler, Romney, that back line's been terrible. I put Lima on the bench because this is the second time they got in a huge argument. I did note it here at the bottom. He had a huge disagreement. Lima didn't see him put his hand out. I don't know. He walked by and like they just like screamed at each other. And it's the second time it's happened. So like Porter's losing his mind. He's losing the team. So they had that big blow up. He's got to go, in my opinion. If they lose at home to New York City, I think he's probably done. That's kind of my intuition. I could be wrong, but I think he's run his course. I just don't think he's a very good coach. I know he's done it before, but it's just not working in New England. He's just made that team horrendous. Dave Romney was like the guy in the back line. He just doesn't play him. He just rather have them concede left and right. DeJuan Jones is back. That's good. And some of these other guys are getting back, which will help. Brandon Buys a little bit away, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks away, but he's getting back from that ACL as well. I expect Bakrar to start up top. Mijatovic started last match, the Hudson River Derby. And you know when by I just said, you read my mind. I think, let me just check that real quick, actually, so I don't give you the wrong. By 3 to 4 weeks away from full training, and that was from 2 days ago. So that was the quote. So as it was said earlier, Sands is out. So yellow card accumulation. You'll see Andres Pereira starting there beside Parks. Pretty straightforward. I think Gray is slightly kind of working his way back in, but that's a toss up on that right back. They said that Buys ahead of schedule, so that was a surprise to me. I thought he was still at least like 2 months away, so that's pretty legit. As far as the wings, I think Malachi Jones is going to start, but it's a toss-up with Ojeda. You have Fernandez, who hasn't started in a while, so his percentage keeps dropping. Mijatovic started the last 2 matches, including the U.S. Open Cup with the second squad, but Bakrar came off the bench and scored. So maybe that's what he needed to get going. Cushing did speak highly of him and said that should get him going. Dozing off while transferring lineups. When's the button coming? I haven't even looked at a single one of my lineups. I know who's playing who, but like I haven't looked at anything. I don't know. Probably not going to get to it on stream, to be honest. Slowly hitting a wall. Tomorrow at school, we do a carnival outside, which is fun. So like, they do dunk tanks and stuff like that. So, but it's a lot. So I need to get my rest for that. Plus, hitting the links for the first time, playing some golf after work. Pretty excited about that. I'm not a very good golfer. It's not like I'm not great. Probably like a 18 to 20 handicap. But yeah. Stroud forward to pair with Klitsch. They have been legit. Like Stroud has had a lot of assists lately. I don't know if that can continue though. He's not like, I don't know. He's not the player that I feel like can continue that. But I think he's been really good. I don't think those two, like, they both can get decisives, but I don't think they're going to pair up too well. Oh, here you go. I volunteered one of those. It was draining. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's not like a lot of work. So like people that do like manual labor, I feel for you guys. Like that's impressive. Me, like I don't do a lot of like labor. It's just like mentally draining, if that makes sense. What to say about these two? Nashville 442. Shout out to the interim coach listening to the stream and making sure that he followed our directions and went with the 442. So hopefully continues. And a couple question marks would be Tyler Boyd. He's kind of gone every other. I know it's a new coach, so he might stick in the lineup, but I have him at 65%. It's kind of like the same. Alex Mule has been like a guy for the club that just, he starts and starts and starts. He's like a Swiss Army knife. He can play the left side. He can play a lot of different positions. So that's kind of why I have him in there. But that's a toss-up. I could be wrong about that. Yearwood, questionable again with an ankle. So Sean Davis should start. I guess Anunga could be in line. But we should see Zimmerman and Mayer. Should be. But Bauer came on 4 more. So he maybe even plays right back there. Lovitz, and then also 3 in the back if they decide to scrap the plans. But I wouldn't if it was if I was them. That's for sure. DC. So we've had a lot of talk about DC and how they line up, everything like that. On that right side, I like Herrera as a defender for sure. Patola was left out last match. He should be in there. This match, that was just kind of a rotation. He's a DP, so like they got him this year. He's a solid player, but he can play defensive mid as well. Jackson Hopkins, they like. He's been playing a ton beside Klitsch. Set pieces all day for Klitsch. Benteke, obviously. Stroud, pretty safe. TKD, pretty safe. Coming back from injury, Merle has been good, but shouldn't be in the starting lineup. Dahome, not great form, but 60% should start over Pedro Santos, although Pedro Santos wasn't that bad. If we take a look at Pedro Santos, now he scored a 60 after starting, and he had an assist the previous game. So that's kind of why I was a little bit even there, because Pedro Santos has played well whenever he's been in the lineup. Birnbaum's back, but he was subbed off in the 79th minute. I don't know if it was exhaustion. Not exactly sure. I watched it back, and I really couldn't find a good clip of what happened. Chicago, man. Shaqiri's probably already looking to, the Euros. They got to get rid of him. It just hasn't worked. Herber's just not sure where he starts. He's 80%. The last match was the first game he didn't start, so he should be back in there. Haile Selassie should be back in the lineup. I see him come off the bench though for Mueller, who I have at 70%. It just seems like, I don't know. This team isn't it. I would like to see Gutierrez as the cam. I think he plays better centrally as the number 10 and not out on the wing. I think he can control the ball a little bit better. So if Shaqiri's out, I would like to see him on that 10 role. But yeah. It's a black hole. Yeah. Hugo Kuipers this year. ATG's right about this. He just doesn't care at all. I mean, there are some Fire fans. Not many, but there are. But yeah, how can he just getting this big paycheck just to not try at all? It's tough. And as a manager, definitely on the hot seat. It's some. And then, yeah, I think it's the last one. Charlotte. So Junior Urso is out with a hamstring injury. Euronin is out. Leo Abada is questionable, and he should see some time. The big day is Friday's training, so I will not be playing him unless it's like a 220 that is like a dead lineup anyway. But if he is good to go in practice, maybe he does see the starting lineup for like 60 minutes, or he'll come off the bench. If not, super draft pick Smalls could start. Could be Tavares, and then Vargas moves over to the right. Should see Ajiman, Vargas for sure. And then in that midfield, just kind of like the rotation, it usually goes Bronico and then Pekovic. Bronico started last match. Pekovic should start this match. Diani. So with Urso, it was kind of Urso in the rotation, just based on how they've done it this year. João Pedro at left back again. Privet, Malanda, and Byrne. And as far as Philadelphia, they did make some, adjustments. Leon Flock has been starting. He's a regular, and Jose Martinez is injured. He's doubtful to make the trip. Lowe's questionable. Anderson's questionable. Blake is doubtful. And that's kind of it on the injury scene. I would kind of be surprised if we didn't see this lineup. The only kind of switch, Bedoya just started last match. So I wouldn't think Bedoya gets back-to-back starts. They kind of rotate. But then whenever you get to the midweek, you're going to see that rotation kind of like we saw before. You're about to beat our podcast time. What time was yours? I'll stop before. Oh, man. Let's see. Anything else of note? Thiago Almada, questionable. That's a guy that I'd put in like maybe my last lineup. If he plays, he could lift that lineup. If he doesn't, 146. I'll try and stop before that. Yeah, I think we went over everybody else. So any other last questions? I mean, I appreciate everyone coming in here. I haven't looked at Twitter at all. How many are in the Twitter? But 26 on here between Twitch and YouTube. That's, I think, the most I've had in here, which is great. 277 on Twitter. Shout out to the Twitter peeps. You love to see it. I'll wait a little bit for questions. Again, any updates I'm going to make in the Discord. So you should join the Discord. It's free. I know they've talked about monetizing it. I know a lot of things are going on, but it's free. It's free. And, this stuff is all free until later. So use it while you can. And any updates, I'll make notes of what I'm updating. So tomorrow morning, maybe we might get something, but at this time, I don't really see any other information coming in. Thinking of flying to Vancouver to see Messi play. Do you like disappointments? Because thank you for all the hard work. Hey, I appreciate it a lot. I think you were the first one in, so I appreciate you staying from start to finish. That's awesome. Thanks for all you do. Best of luck to you. I would do my lineup builds, but honestly, I'm hitting a wall. I'm going to wait till tomorrow morning, I think. Don Q, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Good luck with your event tomorrow. I appreciate that. What do I do with this GG card? That's a good question. Man, he's made of glass. But, like, if he moves to Cruz Azul, is that a better situation than playing on the turf and getting injured all the time? I don't know. Who gonna tell him? You're a legend, bro. Thanks. I'm not a legend, man. Not a legend. That's definitely just doing my best here. Oh, man. Yeah, the GG card, I don't know. Wait for him to get healthy. Hopefully the price rises after hopefully he scores. But Atlanta is just a mess right now. They just are. It's pretty brutal. But on that note, I think I'm going to call it. I don't know. I guarantee this is not coming. That was a once in a, everything went my way. So another podium incoming, no. But I will say, like, it's kind of been crazy. I've been pretty successful. I got a limited podium with the Go Ahead Eagles. Like, I'll be making a YouTube video on my collections, just like it's a collection, like, experiment. Got a a podium for them with the new competition and another podium. So like I'm getting lucky with the new competitions, but like I'm not getting card rewards at all. I'm doing well in cash, 0 card rewards, like nothing crazy. Sad. Yeah. It's a sad day. But like I'm happy because Philadelphia was able to beat a New England team that, I mean, 11th minute red card, like that's what you need. So like as a Philly fan, I don't know if it's like false hope. GG being Giacomakis, yeah. Sorry. Hey, I appreciate ATG. Thanks for coming in, man. I wish I could have stayed longer. The kid was fighting, and I had to turn the sound off of you guys' stream. I want to definitely hop on with you guys. I can't really help with the Euros too much, but I loved hearing you guys talk about it. Just Heat, always glad you're in here, man. Appreciate all of you. Great showing from the comments, and great showing from all of you. Oh, here we got another one. Thoughts on Munson Traberka? I have, but I will gladly say it again. Let's go up to Columbus. So this is I have 60-40. It does seem like Traberko has won the starting position there, and Amundsen hasn't played in CONCACAF Champions Cup. So that's kind of a tricky one as far as it really doesn't seem like Amundsen is set in that position. If he doesn't start in this match, he's cooked. Traberko, it seems like he has kind of edged him out, which is surprising because, you know, not only is Amundsen a good SO5 scorer, he's been good in that lineup, and he was an integral part of the team last year. So I'm not really sure what's going on in Columbus with that, but surprisingly enough, it does seem like he's been relegated to the bench. So Kennedy, thanks for popping in. Hopefully that answered your question. And if there's no other questions, I think we wrap it there. Good luck in the game week, everybody. Maybe I stay up a little bit and build my lineups so I don't have to scramble in the morning. But I'm a little exhausted to do it on stream. And to Twitter, thank you guys all for tuning in. Crazy, almost 300 people on Twitter. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Brose, thank you for coming in. ATG got in the ATG podcast, watching and trying. I can't even talk right now. Time to build lineups. I'll delete at 9:30 and make even poor decisions. Yes. Team, delete lineups, and then rebuild. All right. On that note, we'll see you guys. I appreciate you coming in. Schedule coming up. We got a midweek. So midweek after this, Monday, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to stream. Yeah, it's going to be a quick turnaround. I hate midweeks just for the amount of work that I have to do in a short period of time. But yeah, we'll see you back here on Monday, and all the content will be on there as well. So good luck, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.